Alright legends, welcome along to Here's Rodder's Reviews. We're getting into episode 4 of season 1 of the X-Men here with an episode entitled Deadly Reunions. Great episode, tells two stories simultaneously, and the Deadly Reunions are Professor X and Magneto, and then Wolverine and Sabretooth. So great opening to this episode where you see Xavier is probing the mind of Sabretooth to try and help him control his anger and, just help him be a better mutant, which, of course, isn't going to be easy, if not impossible. So within his mind, you see Sabretooth, he's behind bars, and there's humans coming at him, taunting him, calling him names, screaming at him. They've got sticks and bats and whatever. Pretty much like the people hunting down Frankenstein's monster. In his mind, there's Sabretooth and Professor X, two separate beings, but they join at one point, and it pretty much is Xavier's body, but with like the sideburns of Sabretooth. He's fighting against the demons. The people that were hunting him down actually turn into real demons at this point, so they're punching, taking out the demons. Xavier's like, yes, we can fight these, we can beat them if we work together. But the demons manage to overpower them, and the two bodies then separate, and you see Sabretooth running, and Xavier tries to go after him. Sabretooth goes through a wall. When Xavier tries to get through this wall, he can't, and you see that it's not just one wall, but it's four walls, and Sabretooth's inside, there's a wall above too, so it's like, cutting Xavier off mentally from his inner mind. We cut back to reality, and you see that Professor X is sitting beside the bed of Sabretooth, and he's still in the infirmary. At this point, the rest of the X-Men return, full Xavier on what happened with the fight with Magneto. And they tell him, he offered us to join his cause, but we turned him down, and when we did, he just pretty much says, right, if you're not with me, you're against me. So, he's going to go all out war on the X-Men at this point. Xavier fills him in about his past, kind of, and everything that happened to him, and, he's a dangerous enemy, and the next time he attacks, he'll not be as easy to deal with as that first time. So Xavier knows exactly how strong Magneto can be and what they're going to be up against. But he does tell him there's good news, and he takes him down our room. There is Sabretooth. He's restrained in a chair similar to the one that Xavier floats about on. And he says, we've made good progress with Sabretooth so far. At this point, Wolverine, seeing Sabretooth again, loses his cool. The claws come out. He's ready for fighting one more time. And him and Xavier button heads over the whole Sabretooth thing. And Xavier says, I need your help, Wolverine, for the next stage of Sabretooth's therapy. At which point, Wolverine's like, as long as he's here, I'm going to be somewhere else. And he storms off. So, Xavier's like, we'll deal with his attitude later, but right now, we're going to have to concentrate on Magneto. He might attack soon. He cut over to Magneto. He's worked out his next game plan. He's going to attack a chemical factory, which he does. And, of course, the computers over at the mansion tell Xavier what's happening. So they, onto the bird, off they go to face down Magneto, leaving Rogue in charge of Sabretooth. Keep an eye on him. Even though he's restrained, he could still be dangerous. So when the X-Men get to the chemical plant, Magneto is in full destruction mode at this point. There's fire and there's explosions going off everywhere. The workers are running for their lives, and the X-Men come in to face him down. Interestingly enough, at this point, Xavier hasn't come in. That's only Sabretooth. It's only Cyclops, Storm, and Rogue that have come in to face off against Magneto. And he's like, I was hoping Charles would be here. And Cyclops is like, you're going to have to make two of us. So Magneto's like, fair enough. So the fight commences between the four of them. Magneto very swiftly takes the three of them out. Cyclops gets taken out by gases from a chemical tank that Magneto blows a hole in. He gets knocked unconscious. Magneto then knocks a wall down on top of Storm, but while that's starting to fall, you get a flashback from Storm at this point, and you see her as a child freaking out. It doesn't give you much more beyond that, but she, in this moment, is frozen by fear. Rogue tries to get in and stop the wall from falling on her, but the wall comes down on the two of them. So the X-Men are all strong enough, and one simple wall isn't going to stop Rogue anyway. And again, I think I said it in the last video, Rogue is a very, very good character. I love Rogue and the X-Men, and I have to say the live action movies didn't do her justice whatsoever. She's a great character in this animated series. She crawls out from the rubble of the wall, rescues Storm from it. She's knocked out. She then notices that Cyclops is also knocked out and goes over to help him, and she's no other option to give him mouth to mouth. And I love the southern twang on Rogue and some of the statements that she comes out with. She goes on to give him mouth to mouth. Of course, her powers is she can't touch someone skin to skin, or she'll take their energy, and if she touches somebody long enough, she can actually kill them. So she apologises, but she has no other option. But she goes on and gives him mouth to mouth, so skin to skin contact. She manages to get him brought back, and he wakes up. At which point she takes on his power. So the energy blasts come from the eyes, and she asks, how do you stop this? He tells her, close your eyes. It's the only way you can stop it. So he then falls unconscious again. So he's out, Storm's out, Rogue can't do anything because she has to keep her eyes closed. At this point, Xavier has come in and is facing off with Magneto. And interestingly, he's not that good a leader at this point. He let the three X-Men get on ahead of him, then he came in afterwards whenever they were losing. So, to me, a good leader would be at the head of the pack, but that's just me. So they're having the back and forth that you expect from the two main characters, the good guy and the bad guy. And of course, Magneto again, like in the last episode, gives Xavier a choice. Follow me and help me, free our people, more or less. Xavier turns him down because he doesn't believe in the route that Cyclops is taking to do this. And he says, like, what you went through as a child, whenever the war, the parents and whatnot, everybody died, and you're just doing exactly the same thing here, at which point Magneto actually knocks Xavier out of his wheelchair, his floating wheelchair, whatever you want to call it. Tells him, I didn't want it to end. I guess we weren't always enemies, but if you're not going to stand with me, I'm taking you out, sort of a thing. So he's about to do the kill shot on Xavier, at which point Xavier, of course, uses his powers, gets into Magneto's mind. So interestingly, in the movies, the helmet that Magneto wears protects him from any attacks psychically from Professor X. It's not the case in the animated series here. Xavier gets into his head and gives him visions and memories from his childhood and his own. Like, all the characters in X-Men, pretty damaged, most of them. So Xavier takes him through his childhood, the guards taking him away, his parents getting taken from him, all that sort of stuff. Xavier, or Magneto at this point, is screaming for Professor X to stop, and Professor X is like, no, you're going to stop. So he keeps this going until Magneto retreats. He then gets the rest of the X-Men out. Rogue is carrying Storm and Cyclops, but she can't open her eyes, so Professor X has psychic powers to be her eyes, guides them out. We cut over to the mansion. There's a news report on, and Senator Kelly is talking about the president's terrible decision to close down the Mutant Registry Act, and that he intends to run for president, and if he gets it, he'll make sure that all these mutants are put into internment camps, very much in the early 1900s style, let's just say. At which point, did I say Rogue? Yeah, I did say Rogue, didn't I? No, Jubilee, sorry. Jubilee was left behind. So if I said Rogue earlier on was left behind, mistake. Jubilee, little Jubilee, is there, looking after Sabretooth. She turns the news report off. Sabretooth wants to get hold of the senator and rip his throat out, essentially. So she comes over to him and he apologises. And, I'm still trying to get my head around controlling my anger here. Jubilee notices that he's hurt his wrist on the restraints, and she's like, will you behave yourself long enough for me to tend to your wounds? And he's like, yes, of course I will. So whenever she releases the clamp on his right arm, he of course attacks her, then spells out the entire plan, and he says, do you really think that a few words from Professor X would make any difference to me? I've just been biding my time and playing along with everything, waiting for my chance to do what I was sent here to do. And he reveals it was Magneto sent him in the first place to the courtroom, knowing that if he got hurt, Professor X would take him on, and the whole plan was for Sabretooth to get into the X-Men base and take it over. So he gets out of his restraints. He's going to kill Jubilee at this point, and he says, I wish Wolverine was here so I could take him out as well. At which point Wolverine pops up, and the two of them start fighting, and Sabretooth's getting the upper hand on him for a bit, but Wolverine manages to get the upper hand on Sabretooth, and he's just about to put the claws into him when, of course, Professor X shows up along with the rest of the X-Men, and of course they've been butting heads over Sabretooth. So when Professor X comes in and sees Sabretooth on the ground and Wolverine with the claws out, he automatically thinks, alright, Wolverine started this, and he gets at Wolverine. Jubilee's trying to talk sense into the Professor whenever Sabretooth attacks Wolverine and gashes him across the stomach and chest. Wolverine is down, and Jubilee, of course, we've seen in the prior episode, she is, when she's emotionally protective of someone, her powers are at their strongest, essentially. So she takes a blast at Sabretooth whenever he's going for a kill blow on Wolverine and blows him right through the wall of the mansion. So he then retreats as well. So at the end of the episode, Professor X is not starting to realise, he's just realised that he's been completely wrong about everything up to this point. He thought, he should have listened to Wolverine's instincts. He thought that all mutants could live in peace together. Been wrong about everything. That's twice I've failed. And the rest of the X-Men's like, we all failed together, Professor. He's left thinking, the next time Magneto strikes, is the X-Men going to be ready for him? And the final shot of the episode, of course, we see Magneto looking across the city from the top of a hillside, and he's like, I'm going to attract thousands of mutants for my cause, and then I'm going to destroy you, Xavier. So we close out at that point. Great episode, fantastic. I love these sorts of stories, whether it be an animated show that gets here or live action and whatnot, where you get the two main characters as far as the good guy and the bad guy, and you're getting the whole history in there, and then it's great stuff. Love that, and they just that whole emotional opening with Sabretooth and Louise, one of the villains in the show. You start to feel for that character as well. That's the great thing about the X-Men and superheroes that were made from this sort of genre, and particularly, well, DC does it as well, but Marvel were very good at doing it back in the day. You get the good guys that have a dark past, and you get the main villain that also has a past, but they're sympathetic characters. And some of the best films in history are those types of characters that you can see their side of the story as well, and you can understand why they're doing what they're doing, even though they're a villain. Fantastic. Did it very good in this episode. So, right, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, share it along, get subscribed, and if you're listening in the audio podcast, thank you so much. Hit that follow button. I'm going to go and watch another episode.